afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another installment of the Medical Missionary Workshop for June 2024. And the two subjects we're going to go over today are the problem of constipation and also the fluoride dilemma. We'll go over those two things today. And before we begin, as always, let us have a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for this blessing us with life today. And Lord, I pray at this time and during this workshop, I pray that only your truth comes out, the evidence that is given that others may not realize, and that they make the appropriate changes in their lives to better increase their physical well-being. It's our duty today is to give information, share information that we have actually applied to our lives, and then share it with everyone else out there on Facebook and on YouTube. So I just pray that everyone takes the information and go back and they look at the information themselves and study for themselves, and then make the right conscious decisions that's best for them and their families. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. And we're coming today from Believers of Truth Free Seventh-day Adventist Church, 1013 Callahan Street in Archdale, North Carolina. Now, as we continue, as we always do, we open up with scripture coming from 3 John 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth. And we have a statement here. I have a disclaimer now I'm going to do. So the information provided in this workshop is for educational and informational purposes only. It is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. And coming from Ministry Healing, page 127, the only hope of better things is in the education of the people in right principles. Let physicians teach the people that restorative power is not in drugs, but in nature. Disease is an effort of nature to free the system from conditions that result from a violation of the laws of health. In case of sickness, the cause should be ascertained, unhealthful conditions should be changed, wrong habits corrected. Then nature is to be assisted in her effort to expel impurities and to reestablish right conditions in the system. Ministry Healing, page 127. Now we have our first presenter coming with the on constipation. As Debbie McCoy.
Good evening, everyone.
You gotta speak up now. You gotta speak up.
I was told to speak up. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Want to thank you all for joining us on YouTube and for those who are here in person. Thank you so much for taking the time out to come be with us. And what we're going to talk about right now is one of the conditions that most of America has. And a lot of us probably have dealt with this as adults and children and even infants. It's a problem that is very prevalent among society. And we're going to find out why that is, a little bit about why that is. And that condition is constipation. So I have some questions here. And the first question is, why do we get constipated? Okay? And so we're going to go over some of the reasons that cause us to become constipated. Okay. Now, the digestive system plays a very important part of our condition in regards to constipation. That's the main part. And so we know that digestion starts with smell. Because as the body, the nose takes in the smells, it begins to activate or to stimulate the digestive system. And the glands in our mouth, which are digestive glands that cause us to have the digestive juices to digest the food. That's a lot of digestion there, but those glands are in the mouth. So when the body takes in the smell, it activates, the body begins to be stimulated to eat. Smelling tells us that it's time to eat. So the digestion starts with the smell. Then the glands will produce a digestive juice, and we are ready to use our mouth and our teeth to eat. The food goes from the mouth into the stomach and into the intestines and the colon. And why does food get stuck in the colon is what we're going to talk about. Because as we intake it through our mouth, first we smell it, and then those juices, the digestive juices begin to flow in the mouth, and we're ready to eat. And once we eat with our mouth and our teeth, it goes into our stomach, and from our stomach, it goes into the intestines and into the colon. And if we are not putting in the proper things, the proper diet, then the food will not digest properly, and it gets stuck, and we become what? Constipated. So, one of the reasons that we get constipated is our life habits. We are people, a society, a civilization that eats a lot of fast foods. We want food that's fast, and that food that's fast is fatty. And then we're consumed by time and rushing, so we stop at these places and we take this food in that's fast, it's full of fats, and it doesn't properly digest. Number one, there's no fiber or bulk in these foods. And we all have an idea of what foods I'm talking about and the places we go to get these foods. And we'll show a little demonstration to remind people of what we're doing. So we consume because of our lifestyle, and everybody's so busy. And we want it fast, and we want it now. We're not eating at home. We're not taking the time to think about what we're eating. We're just on the go. So we stop at these places, we get this fast food that's full of fat and that has no nutrients in it. It just satisfies us temporarily, and then it causes us, because of what's in it, to be constipated. We eat less at home. We don't eat a lot of cooked meals now. Now we just want it fast. So we don't eat a lot of cooked meals. And when we eat at these places, the foods are not whole. They're not plant-based, which is what we need to have the bulk that we need to keep our system to run correctly. They are generally and mostly processed foods. So they're fatty, we get them fast, there's no fiber, and they're processed and concentrated foods, okay? And again, we do this because we're so busy. And our children are being raised on these type of foods and this type of eating habit. And we're paying the cost, and we're becoming constipated. Another thing is how we eat. Because we're so busy again, and I know it's not just me, we're so busy. We tend to eat fast. We're on the go, let's hurry up and eat, and that's not good. Because when we eat fast, we don't properly chew our food. Our food should be chewed in small pieces. Small pieces so that the stomach and the intestines will be stimulated from the eating of food, and we can have a bowel movement. When we rush, we generally don't chew properly, and we eat our foods in chunks, and it goes down into the stomach and into the intestines, and it's not broken down properly, and it delays the process of eliminating, and it can back it up. We become constipated, because we're in a hurry and we're not taking the time to relax, sit down, and properly chew our foods. So how we eat, if we're hasty and we're not chewing our foods, that can cause the system to delay and get backed up, and we become constipated, and it's not, the system can't properly digest the food because it's in chunks. And another thing we don't want to do is the opposite of that. If we eat our food to where it becomes we're sitting there for an hour, or well, not even that, 30 minutes, chewing and chewing and chewing till it's liquefied, then there's no bulk in the food, and therefore, again, it can cause us to be constipated because we need the bulk. We need the bulk, and the majority of the bulk comes from eating food that have fiber in it. So again, how we eat, when we eat also, we'll talk a little bit more about when we eat. That affects us, our system, and we become backed up and constipated. Okay? And also what happens when we don't process or chew our food properly, the water, there's not enough water in the intestines or in the food to working together to eliminate the waste. So when we hurriedly eat, the body is not taking in the water reserves that needs to be mixed with the food to help it, the waste to break down. That's another problem. So how we eat. And let's see. Another issue is not eating foods that have enough fiber or bulk. What the bulk does in the intestine, and it causes it to sweep the waste through, the roughage from eating and the food digesting, the roughage, the waste. It needs to move out of the intestine, through the colon, and out in our bowel movement. So when we eat foods that are high in fat, that are high in sugars, that are not, and meats and breads, those type of foods that have absolutely no fiber, it causes the system to be backed up. So we need to eat enough fresh vegetables. And when we do this, when we eat vegetables, fresh vegetables and fruits, what happens is, because of the bulk and the insoluble fiber that's in there, it causes the system to be stimulated. One of the things that I learned in doing my research is that the bowel, the intestines, and the colon, in order for it to move and to have the action, like when you eat or when you smell, the whole system begins to stimulate your intestines and your colon from the smell, and you're anticipating the eating. The body is beginning to get active and moving to be able to process the food and to eliminate the food. So when you eat vegetables, because of the bulk and the smell and the process, that bulk helps it to make that activity not speed up, but start to move. The bowels have to be stimulated to move. The smell helps to stimulate the bowels to move. Exercise, eating foods with bulk. All these things, there's a stimulation that goes on with the intestine and the colon that causes your bowels to move. So eating fiber foods helps that to happen, okay? And then what we're eating, meat eating. Okay, this is a big one. And my prayer is that as we go along, that everything will make sense, and that we're thinking, and going off of our own experiences and thinking what we're putting in our body. Okay, when you talk about meat and the breads, okay, meat has no fiber, so it's going to delay the digestive process. It's going to, it can also, because there's no fiber, no bulk to it, cause the system to back up. And flours and bread also do the same thing. Again, we need the vegetables. That has the bulk. These things are concentrated foods that do not have bulk. The way God created our bodies, the intestine is very long. What I'm thinking that they say that it's could be up to 20. It's very long, 3 times our height. And so if we're putting foods in our system, like meats, that don't break down, it's going to take longer to process through the intestine and out the colon and to have a bowel movement. We're not created, God didn't create us with a short digestive system. Now animals, they can eat flesh, and they only do that because of sin. We know sin came in and they began to eat flesh, and us also. But their digestive tract is shorter. So they can eliminate meats quicker. But ours are way longer, and it takes time for the food to process through our intestines because they're way longer. God didn't create us to eat meat, in other words. So what it does, it has no fiber, and it's a lot of protein, and it blocks us up. It's hard to digest it. The system cannot digest it. Vegetables are a lot better. So we need to stay away from those type of foods and eat the vegetables which give us the bulk that we need. Okay?
Could you talk about how ferment takes so long?
Oh yeah. Someone asked about the fermentation of meats. And yes, because they take so long to go through the system to get to the colon, which is called the pelvic colon, I learned that. And that's in the lower part of our abdomen. We have the small intestines, which are very, very long. And they're in the abdomen, under the ribs. Then we have the colon, which is the bigger intestine, that's connected to the rectum, which is where we eliminate. And we have so many feet of the small intestine, the way the Lord has made us. We'll be amazed at how long that intestine, the small intestine is, and then it hooks to the colon. So if we eat those meats, they will sit there as they delay the system because there's something that God has put in the vegetable. It's a process. There's certain acids and that work like laxatives in vegetables. And so it's not the same in meat. So when we eat that meat, it takes longer to go through all the small intestines into the colon. And it can sit there for hours, days. And as it does that, it begins to decay. And as it decays, and it's not moving and it's sitting there for days, we can't go to the bathroom, we won't have a bowel movement, we're constipated, and at the same time, it's spoiling like for instance, if you put food in a trash can and it sits there, or any type of waste, and it sits there, it begins to spoil. So when that happens, as the food ferments in the stomach and just sits there, it goes into the bloodstream and can cause a lot of different diseases and elements that we deal with. So we want to stay away from those foods. You know, I'm not saying just immediately, because most of us, that's what we've been raised, how we've been raised, and that's all we know. But God has a way to show us, if we're willing, how we can come off of those things that are detrimental and cause the constipation in our body, how we can come off of those meats. He has a better plan for us and our health. So we talked about eating the meat, and then there are other things that cause us to be constipated. If we're not drinking enough water, that can cause us to be constipated. If we're not exercising, that causes us to be constipated. A bland diet can cause us to be constipated also. We need to, again, stimulate the digestive system, stimulate the intestines and the colon. All of those organs need to be stimulated. So when we eat something bland, there's no smell to it. And so the mouth, the body's not getting stimulated to begin to work, to process the food. So a bland diet, we want to make sure that we make our food tasteful. There's so many different herbs and healthy ways we can make our foods tasteful. So we don't want to eat a bland diet. And milk. We need to be careful about what we don't need to. The milk intake is not good for us. And it causes us to be constipated because of the casein that's in it. It's not digestible. And therefore, when we drink the milks, which are made for cows, not for humans, it can cause constipation because of the casein that's in it. And we also are familiar with being, is it lactose?
Lactose intolerance. Most people are lactose intolerant. They can't even consume it.
Yeah. Most of us are lactose intolerant because of the casein that's in the milk. And it destroys the lining of the stomach. It causes us to be constipated because we weren't made to drink milk. So, and also I've noticed cow's milk. And also I've noticed, you know, a lot of babies get constipation. And the best milk for an infant is mother's milk. You know, these milks are being processed. They're not natural milks. And they probably, I'm sure they have the casein in them and so many other things that cause little babies to be constipated. And when an infant is constipated, it's not good. You know, that child suffers. Now, us adults, we make a choice what we put in ourselves, but babies don't. So the best milk for infants to help with that, and the mother on the diet and drinking the water and all the things that we should do as mothers when we're breastfeeding, the best thing for infants is breast milk, because my experience has been a lot of mothers deal with infants that are constipated. So milk is not something that we should intake because it causes constipation and so many other things, because we're not made to drink the cow's milk. Eating cooked foods, that's another thing that can cause us to be constipated, excuse me, because when we cook our foods, like vegetables for instance, we can rob the food of the nutrients and the natural laxatives that God has put in them because we cook it out. We overcook it. Now, steaming is different. Steaming, I would suggest steaming vegetables rather than boiling and cooking it, because what it does is it strips the nutrients and the things that we need to make the food able to help us to have that bulk that we need to cleanse the intestines and the colon. So steaming is good. So we don't want to eat a lot of cooked food. And these things that I'm saying, we have to take steps. You know, some people can just jump into it, but most people have to take steps. If you're eating cooked foods, a lot of cooked foods, just start to incorporate raw salads, for instance. You know, I do a lot of gardening, and I'll just go out and get carrots, for instance, out of the garden, or asparagus, or certain peas that you grow that you can eat raw. There are lots of vegetables that can be eaten raw. You just have to choose those that are desirable to your taste and incorporate them. Onions, garlic, and all those type of things. So you just need to begin, I would suggest to begin to add more raw vegetables to your food to help to build that bulk and to cleanse the intestine and the colon. One of my favorite raw foods to eat is alfalfa, sprouting in other words. That's another way. So just learn the things that you enjoy eating raw and add them to your diet, and add more vegetables to your diet, and take away the meat slowly, until you have learned what you can eat that you enjoy. And there's so many things that you can eat, because I'm never dissatisfied being on my plant-based diet. We have to take the time and realize how detrimental it is to our health, But back to constipation. So let's see, what else can I tell you that I learned about that constipates us? We talked about the cooked food, and then irregular meals, timing. And we're going to do a little demonstration about that. We should eat our meals and have time in between for it to digest properly. At least 4 to 6 hours. So say if you get up 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and you have your first meal, your biggest meal, it should be your biggest meal. We're going to talk a little bit about that more. It should be your biggest meal. So say you get up 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and you, 7 o'clock. You should eat your next meal, giving the food time to digest and go through the intestine and through the colon. You should give at least 4 to 6 hours, giving the food time to digest. We don't do that. We're always on the go. We're not paying attention to the time because we didn't get satisfied with the first meal. We're ready to eat again. And what happens is the food begins to pile up on each other, the meals. They begin to pile up and they're not being digested. They're just sitting in the system, so you begin to get constipated, and it ferments also, which is not good, because again, that's like trash in the system. The waste is not being eliminated and you're not having a proper bowel movement. It's been said and that we should really, if we eat the right things and at the right times, that we should, after every meal, eliminate. That keeps us from, number one, we know we're not constipated, and number two, that keeps the food from sitting in our colon, our intestines, and fermenting, decaying. And when we do those things, we don't eliminate properly, then we set ourselves up for disease, lots of disease. And especially, we know about the diabetes and the high blood pressure, and it goes strokes, and it goes on, and that's all because we're not putting the proper food in, we're not giving it time to digest, and we're not eliminating. It's like our stomach becomes a trash can. The food is just sitting there, decaying and spoiling, and so what do we think, using our common sense, how it would affect the tissues in our body, our blood? We need to really think about the time and how we are eating. So the time is very important. We don't need to lay down at night with eating late. If we eat late, first of all, we don't need to eat irregular. We should eat at the same time as much as possible, giving the food a chance to digest properly and eliminate. if we're eating the right foods, eating the bulk foods, and eating at the right time, and keeping up with drinking our water, the food you will have a bowel movement, and you won't be constipated, and it will eliminate properly. If you eat 2 meals a day, it is generally would be the best thing for you to eliminate twice a day behind every meal. And another thing we don't want to do is snack in between those meals. And we do that. This society is made up of snacks, snack. That's not good, because we can eat breakfast, and because we don't eat the right things, and we're so used to snacking before it's time to eat, 6 to 4 hours time to eat the next meal, we're snacking in between. And that stops the digestion, and that's going to cause the system to back up, and you could become constipated. So we need to change our habits of eating. The snacking is not good. I know from personal experience, we like to snack. We all like to snack. But we gotta let the food digest, and some people are able to eat their meal, and if they want a snack, they might eat the snack within that time after they eat the meal so that they won't snack in between. And I don't know how that sounds, but some people do eat that way. I've witnessed it myself. They know that they're going to want a snack, so they'll eat their meal and then wait a little bit and then have their snack. Now, and that person that I know personally, I've seen where their system is working properly. So that's just one way of snacking. But snacking in between meals, say you eat breakfast at 7 and 9 o'clock you have a snack. If you're, they say that snacking, those who are diabetic, they need to eat snack. So that is something that you would need to talk to your physician about. I don't want to get too much into that, because when you're dealing with a disease and you have a need so that you won't, damage yourself or injure yourself, then that's a whole different thing. But snacking, we need to not snack. It's not good because it interferes with the digestive system, which can cause the system to back up, which can cause constipation, and then the food just sits there and decays and ferments, and then we'll have more serious issues. So snacking is not good. Okay? We need to make sure that we're always drinking enough water, and that when it's time to go to the bathroom, that we go. We could be so busy, and you can feel that urge, and some people don't go right then and there. That's not good. We need to make sure that when nature calls, that we go. We can't hold that back. That's a natural process, and if we do that, it'll cause, again, the constipation and the fermenting in the digestive system, and then that leads to a lot of other diseases. So we need to go when it's time to go.
Yeah. I
I have a question.
Well, I heard a story of a woman who did not want to go to the bathroom in number two, in public or when she was at work. So she would hold it all day, and it got to the point where she couldn't even go anymore.
Yes, we just heard from someone in the here that's with us that they had an experience where they heard of but they know of a person that had heard of an experience where a woman, and we do this, had to go, a person had to go, but they didn't want to go in public, and they were at work and didn't want to go at work, so they held it, and then they had a problem of not being able to go. And we know we do that. We'll do that. Having a bowel movement is very personal, and some people don't want to because of what happens when we do that. Some people will hold back, but it's not good to hold back. That's why there's bathrooms in public areas. There's bathrooms everywhere we go. If we do that, we can get to a point to, like the person that she just mentioned, to where we don't go. And that's not good at all. Then we'll end up in a very serious condition. So when nature calls, we need to go. And now out there in the market, they have different things that, you know, if you're concerned about the smell, or they have different things, you know, that you can do to help in those situations when you're out in public, so that you can go when it's time to go. Okay, let's see. I want to read just something about refined foods. We know that refined foods are processed foods. They're ultra-processed foods when I looked up the research. And a processed food is something that's been processed. It's not whole. That's something that just been put in a lab or chemicals or whatever to preserve it and to make it. So refined foods are a part of processed foods, and that's not good for us. So I want to read this to you about refined foods. Refined foods. People used to think refinement was good because it got rid of useless roughage. Now we're learning how necessary fiber is in protecting us from certain cancers, stabilizing blood sugars, controlling weight, and preventing gastrointestinal problems such as gallstones, hemorrhoids, and constipation. So we know that refined foods, highly processed foods, cause constipation and stomach problems. It causes gallstones and hemorrhoids and so on. So we need to stay away from those refined foods, and we need that fiber. So again, we're back to learning the foods that we need to eat, which are vegetables and fruits and nuts and grains and so on. And then I want to read here where it talks about fat. Okay. There is a villain at work in our country, quietly disabling and killing more Americans. Killing more Americans each year more than wars in this century. And that villain is fat in our food. So here we're reading that fat in our food is a villain and is killing us. The excess fat in food is being singled out as the most damaging component of the Western diet. The deadly duo of high fat and a low fiber diet is now linked to such diverse problems as heart disease, obesity, gallstones, cancers, breast and colon cancers, strokes, and constipation. So eating a lot of foods high in fat and low in fiber will cause us to have these conditions. So we need, again, to be mindful of those things that we eat that are full of fat and no nutritional value, and just sit in the system and cause us to be constipated, and then it leads to strokes, diabetes, high blood pressure, and so many other diseases. So now what I would like to do is show you some of the things that you can do on top of making sure you have the right diet, exercising, drinking enough water, eating at the right times. There are other things naturally that can also help the bowels to move. So what I have here is, of course, the water. We need to make sure we drink the water, that enough water, ounces is how much the body weight? How does that go?
It's 50%.
Yeah, half of your body weight, so in ounces.
So half of your body weight in ounces is what we need to drink in water. For water, we need to drink the water. one thing that I learned in studying and that I try to do that helps me, because we should in the morning have a bowel movement. We really should have a bowel movement in the morning. So when you get up in the morning and if you have a glass of water, warm water, 8 to 32 ounces with lemon in it, and drink that down, that will also help to begin to stimulate the intestines and the colon and to help you to have your morning bowel movement. Again, generally, I think that the best idea is to have a bowel movement after you eating, depending on how many meals you eat, which should be 2 meals. Now, you can eat 3, some people need 3 meals a day, but I generally have 2 meals a day. My biggest meal is in the morning, and then in the evening, I try to eat a lighter meal. And some people need that 3rd meal if they work a strenuous job. But again, a morning bowel movement to start your day, to eliminate the waste that's in the body, and to begin to eat your next meal, your breakfast meal. Warm water and lemon, 8 to 32 ounces. If you drink that in the morning, that will help the bowel movement and to begin to stimulate the intestine and the colon. Okay, and generally, is it 50% of your body weight in ounces to drink daily to help to flush the system and keep you from being constipated? So water is extremely important, extremely important. Another thing that you can do naturally is you can use flaxseed. Now, or chia seed. I have here the flaxseed and the chia seed. This is the flaxseed. When you use the flaxseed, you should grind that. You should grind it and make sure you having your water intake. That will help to keep you regular, and it'll help the bowels to move, because it will bulk up in the intestine and the colon, and it will help to keep your bowels moving properly. So that's the brown flaxseed. And you don't want to buy it grounded. It would be best to buy the seeds and ground them yourself. If you can get like a small coffee bean grinder. I was going to bring that, but I forgot. But that is excellent to grind your flax seeds, and also chia seed. Chia seed, and I hope you guys can see these. It's the chia seeds. They also, about a teaspoon of those grounded, will also help to move the bowels. Okay? So that's the chia seed and the flax seed, and drinking the water and the exercising and eating your vegetables for bulk and eating at the right times. Okay? I just want to read this to you, and then I'm going to do a small demonstration. Okay? It says about constipation. It says, first and foremost, include enough fiber in your diet each day. Drink enough water. Get enough exercise, especially outdoors, so you can get fresh air. Okay? Avoid poisonous substances and emotional tension. That's another thing. If we're stressed and we're rushing and we're stressed, the food doesn't digest, our food won't digest properly, and we can become constipated. And it says here to relax. Be thankful to God for your blessings and take time to be a blessing to others. Follow the advice in this paragraph, and many of your problems will vanish. As soon as you're awake, start drinking warm water with a little at a time. By the time you are ready for breakfast, you should have taken at least a quart. Faithfully follow this regimen, and you will develop regularly in your morning bowel movement. This plan nicely starts the day off right. Then after breakfast and every meal, go outside and walk a little or a lot. Breathe deeply. The larger the amount of fiber in the diet, the larger and softer will be the stools. And it suggests here to squeeze a lemon into an 8-ounce glass of warm water or very warm water and drink it first thing in the morning. So that is some good advice, to drink your warm lemon water, to not be stressed, relax. When you're eating, especially relax and enjoy your meals, don't be rushed. Stay away from those fast food meals, fatty meals. Eat the vegetables and the fruits. Incorporate more of that in your diet for the fiber and the bulk to help the system to move slowly. And exercise. Exercise in fresh air a little after you walk or lie every day, daily. And be a blessing to others and count your blessings. So now I'm going to do a little demonstration. This is what happens to us. And I just wanted to do something visual to help us to really intake the information and see how it applies to our life. Okay? I have here a trash can. And this is what happens when we don't properly, our food doesn't properly digest. And on here it says the stomach. So when we don't properly digest our foods, and to get rid of the waste, it just sits there like a trash can. And it ferments, and it does all these organisms and bacteria and stuff build up with it, just sits there. So you think of that when you're you're constipated. That food is just sitting there. There's something I'm doing wrong or something I need to do, and do it continually so this food won't just sit here, because it's not good for the blood, and it's not good for the tissues of our body. It's just sending out toxins into the system. And so the stomach, if we don't digest our food properly, it can be like a trash can, and it's just sitting there spoiling in our stomachs. That's not good. That's not good. So we're going to do a little demonstration to bring this to reality. Now, we talked about the foods that most of America is eating because we're so rushed. Those foods come from fast food restaurants, and we know what they are. They're everywhere. You can't go down the street without seeing them. So I said, how can I make this practical, Lord, and make this hands-on? So I thought about this. And, okay, we're going to do a demonstration here. Okay, last night, this is not a good demonstration. We don't need to do this, but this is what can happen to our system, to our body when we have these habits. So say you, about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night, you have a busy day. Whew, I can finally sit down. I'm so hungry. Let me get something to eat. And it's 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock at night. And you go and you say, ooh, let me get me some. I'm going to have some chicken. We have some chicken and corn. Whew, because I'm hungry. So you eat that chicken and corn, 9 o'clock at night. Now what's going to happen to the digestive system? It's got to digest this food. So it's working. You can't sleep. You're eating too late. We should eat at least 3 to 4 hours before we go to bed on an empty stomach, because if we don't, you eating that chicken and that corn 8 o'clock at night, and then you go to bed 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and it hasn't been 4 to 6 hours. The digestive system has to work. You can't sleep because your stomach, you digesting this chicken and this corn that you ate late at night. You should have ate 6 to 4 hours before you went to bed. And so what it does is the system has to work, and it's not working properly. It's delaying the digestion, so it's going to build up. It's going to build up. So you get up 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, you got to go to work. Or no, 7 o'clock in the morning. You move around, you got to go to work. And you ain't got time to make breakfast. So what do? You go to the fast food restaurant and you order a biscuit, a chicken biscuit. And then you might, and if you don't order chicken biscuit, you might stop at a convenience store and say, I need something quick because I do feel hungry, and you get a donut and coffee. No fiber. No fiber in these items. And if you notice, there's that bread. We need to stay away from that bread because it clogs the system. And the coffee, that's another subject of what it does, but it doesn't help. It's got sugar in it, it's got cream in it. So a lot of people will have coffee and a donut for breakfast. No fiber, no bulk. So what's it gonna do? Just sit there or slowly digest, because it can't just sit there. It's gotta do something, but it's slowly digesting and it's clogging the system and it's causing constipation, okay? And if you don't have that donut, you might have a muffin with the coffee. And you might even have a soda, sugary drink, some type of sugary drink with that sausage biscuit or that muffin or donut. No fiber. And this is because we're moving fast and we got to get something fast, you know. And then, a few hours later, guess what time it is? And again, you didn't get the right nutrients. Not a whole plant-based food in your body, not whole food, just something that's been processed, that's quick. It's not doing us no good.
No vitamins.
And no nutrients, no vitamins. It's just to satisfy us for that moment. The next thing you know, 3 hours later, which we should eat our meals we should eat between meals 4 to 6 hours. But say it's only been 3 hours. It's not even been the 4 to 6 hours. We're ready to eat again. We at work, we didn't bring lunch, because these things we don't do nowadays, but God has a better plan to show us what we can do to avoid these things. There is an answer and there's a way. Okay, so we're moving fast. We ate late, we got to get up, we're going to stop and get us some donuts and coffee, or a sausage biscuit or a muffin. Now, 3 hours later, it's lunchtime. Okay, let me go get me something to eat. So where we going to go? To another fast food restaurant. So we might have us some pizza. Again, no fiber. That's meat and bread, because when we eat pizza, the crust is bread. And generally we want sausage or some type of meat on it. So no fiber. We're eating concentrated foods. And so that's the breakfast. Now we're eating this 3-4 hours later. We might even order us a hot dog. Again, bread and meat, no fiber. We might order us some chicken, no fiber.
Chicken nuggets.
Or, as someone just said, for the children and for ourselves, we might have us some chicken nuggets and fries. Now that was going to be possibly for dinner, but again, we've only ate. It's only been 3 hours and we're ready to eat again, and we're at the fast food place and we're eating these foods that have no fiber and they're full of fat. And they're processed and they're refined. And it's, again, the hot dog here, you have your bread and meat. We always got that bread and meat combination. The pizza, again, the crust and the cheese and the bread and meat. You always got that combination, and that's a dangerous combination to eat. It clogs the system. Okay, so that's lunch. So I forgot to demonstrate with the stomach. So we put the coffee in there, we put the donut in there, we're putting the sausage biscuit in there, we put the muffin in there. Oh, let me not forget, but we ate the night before and it didn't digest. Now we got the chicken in the corner, we got all this in the stomach. And the stomach now is like a trash can. Then we had lunch. So we had our pizza. All this is just sitting. There's no bowel movement because there's no fiber, no bulk in these foods. The food is just building up and it's delaying, it's slowly moving, but it's causing us to be constipation. There's no bowel movements, and we're piling food on top of food, the wrong foods. There's no bulk in here. There's no fiber here. It's not helping the intestines and the colon to move and to push these foods out, the waste and the rubbish, so that it won't sit and build up and ferment and go into the blood and cause these different diseases that we're dealing with. High blood pressure, diabetes. But this is just lunch. So all this is sitting here, just sitting in the stomach. We turn the stomach into a trash can. Let me get this. At lunch, we might want a dessert too from the fast food. That's a hot pot. Okay, so all that's just sitting there. Okay, now, 3 hours later, 3.5 hours later, I'm hungry again. You didn't get no nutrients from all that food you let sit in your stomach. So you're hungry again and you rush for time and you gotta pick the kids up, this and that and the other, and you don't feel like cooking a meal. You're used to this now. We're used to eating out. So we go back and we order a hamburger. And what's there? The combination of that meat and bread.
But there's healthy lettuce and tomato on it.
But someone said, but there's healthy lettuce and tomato on it. But what is the proportion? And this lettuce generally is the type of lettuce, as you learn, that turns to water, which water is good, but it's a very small piece. And the tomato, you know, that's a little bit, but the bulk of it is the bread and the meat, no fiber, nothing to help the system to move, and it's adding on top of the other meals. And we wonder why we're constipated. Most Americans constipated. So we got our burger, and we got fries. But that's a potato. But it's not in its natural state. It's been processed in oils and this and that and the other. But we on the go with, I had my burger and my fries.
Has anybody seen where this, like if you get in McDonald's food, it doesn't
Break down.
like
Just-
if you have it for over a year, it's
It's still,
looks
the same.
the same.
Yeah.
Nothing
It hasn't broke down. These foods don't break down, and they can last for
There's so
months
much preserved.
and even up to a year if you just set them out somewhere. You know, we all are familiar. We all use social media, and you can go out there and you can see these things, and it's actually true. But this, what we're showing you, what we're sharing is experience and what we learned. So, okay, now it's dinner time. You got your burger, you got your fries, and you got your soda, your sugary drink. I'm so satisfied. And I think I want a dessert. So you got your ice cream. Okay. And the kids, I don't feel like cooking. So I get them some chicken nuggets and some fries and a drink. And so we're teaching our children to eat this way. And they become constipated too. We're constipated, and now our stomach is a trash can. These foods, we haven't drunk any water, we ain't done no exercise, we're tired, and the food becomes like a trash can. And these foods are going to sit here and ferment and delay the system, and because they have no bulk, they don't stimulate the bowels to move, the intestines and the colon to work the way God intended it to work, and you're constipated. And not only are you constipated, we repeat this over and over, day after day, and we don't make any changes. And the next thing you know, we're putting on weight. We're tired, we have no energy, we're irritable. We may feel sick. Yes, so because of the toxins, yes, they have built up, so we go to the doctor. And you may have headaches begin, and all these different symptoms because we're not properly digesting our foods and putting the right foods in our systems. And the doctor tells you, well, your cholesterol is very high. Your blood pressure is very high. We need to do some testing, and then you find out from the fatty foods, because we think the diabetes comes from the sugar, but it comes from the fatty foods that break down and turn into sugar. And the next thing you know, you're diagnosed with diabetes. And the next thing you know, your cholesterol is high and you're in a position to where you could have a heart attack or a stroke. And the next thing you know, your blood pressure is high. So,
And every time they put you on medicine for that, and they
and
don't ask you to change your diet.
yes, and what someone said in the audience, which is so very true, what do they normally do? They put us on the medications, and then you have a symptom from that and a symptom of that. They don't emphasize the diet and what we're eating and our lifestyle. So, yes, this is what happens when we don't eat the proper things, and we don't drink the things that we need to drink, and we don't get the exercise. And I know we all have busy lives. We all have busy lives. But we got to, I pray that we learn and study and put forth an effort to change our lifestyles so that we don't go to our graves early. And I just want to share something personal. These things are really dear to my heart to share because of life experiences. We've lost so many friends and people early, very early, with stroke, high blood pressure, diabetes, all these diseases that are coming upon our body. God has a better plan, and if you continue to stay tuned, we want to share with you the plan that He has showed us to help, because we understand that we're all busy and life is busy, but we have to step back if we want to continue to have life and life more abundantly as the Lord would want us to have. He said we can have by taking in consideration sincerely of what we're doing to ourselves. Are we putting ourselves in our grave early and not seeing having grandchildren, because we're dying now in our 40s and 30s, strokes and diabetes early in children. We need to really think about it, and I pray that what we share and what I've shared today will really register in your heart and mind, and that you want to make a change. We're willing to share, and you can contact my husband. Brother McCoy will have information as far as contact. We want to help. We just want to help one another. And it's from our life experience, putting into practice the things that I'm sharing with you today, and we see the difference. We see the difference, we live the difference, and we want to share it because, again, personally, a lot of people that we know are just going to their graves early, and they're sick, and they're on all these different things. And if we just take the time and apply these things and take out those things that are damaging us and apply the things that we are learning that are good, that will help us, simply drinking water and exercising, not eating late, not eating close in between meals, not doing all the snacking, not going to those places where the prices are high and the food has no bulk and no purpose, and it just sits there and causes us to get sicker. And our stomachs become trash cans.
And it's just like you said earlier, when the smell is the first thing, and they make those things smell so strong and so good,
Yeah.
and it makes people want to eat it.
Yeah, just like someone shared in the audience, that the smell. Digestion begins with the smell, with our smell. So, these things, we drive, we driving down the street, and you can smell certain smells, and your juices begin, and if we don't know any better, we'll go there. But if we have these things in our home that are healthy, and we learn as we share how to prepare them, and it's not, we can learn it here, and we're going to share it and teach you all that we know. But just by the click of a finger, if you are serious and want to know about how to change your diet, you can get the information. What happens is we have to apply it and realize the seriousness of what is happening to us by not taking care of ourselves. We age quicker, we die earlier, our hearts are broken in family members because we're losing people at earlier ages. I pray that we will take heed and we will keep sharing, and I pray that this has been a blessing. And please, if nothing else, I pray that this will stick in your mind, all these things and what we do and how we can change our stomachs into a trash can, which leads to so many diseases that are killing us and taking us to our graves early. So I pray this has been a blessing, and thank you for tuning in. And those who are here, thank you for for being here.
And,
One more comment.
you know, when you open a trash can, it usually smells pretty bad.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
So,
yeah, and we, this is from experience. I remember when I did eat these things, those meats, especially the meats, I'm just gonna say it. And there's a difference in your bowel movement. Some people are embarrassed, they don't want the smell to, other people that had smell the smell. Well, coming from eating meats years ago, I remember some experiences I had. Oh, they were terrible with having a bowel movement. I don't have those experiences anymore, and that smell, don't have that strong smell that can wake up everything. But that's because our stomachs become trash cans, and it just sits there, and it's not digesting, and it's not moving through the intestine, it's not moving through the colon, and you don't have a bowel movement, and you're constipated. And not only do the smells come through, I want to share this before I move on. You notice that you need more deodorant. You need to bathe more. It goes through your pores. You smell because of what we're eating. It makes a difference when you eat the plant-based foods, the foods that we're intended to eat. And there's so many ways you can prepare these foods to where they're delicious. If you see me, I'm not wanting or craving for it. I'm not losing out on anything. You learn how to prepare these foods, and you learn with the click of a button now. But and you go through different stages, even when you're learning how to cook these different foods. It's just not you jump into it. Some people jump into it, and that's a blessing. You can, but take steps. Take steps towards it. Progress towards that goal of eating more healthy. But like was just shared, when our stomachs become a trash can, not only does our poop and when we eliminate smell bad, but it affects our body odors, the mouth, all those different things based on what we're eating and putting in our bodies. So thank you very much, and I pray that this has been a blessing and that it was simple enough to understand. And I'm going to move out the way for the next presentation. Do you need to move these things?
We can move those, and also if you can get those. I need some silver, some stainless steel spoons. We should have some in there.
Okay.
And the essential oils out, that charcoal and that clay. Spoons.
Silver spoons?
Yeah, stainless steel spoons. That's what I want. Mix it. Just, not much more like that.
Are you talking about the measuring spoons?
Measures. Well, I can use them too. Bring the measuring spoons out too. I can use both of them. All right, everyone. As we continue, the next part will be about fluoride and the fluoride dilemma. Now, I do know for a fact that there's many different thoughts on fluoride, and all we know is fluoride. When we go to the dentist, it's fluoride toothpaste, fluoride mouthwash. But what we're going to share today is based upon scientific evidence and how other countries in our world do not have fluoridated water and the reasons why, and why we should not consume fluoride. And the first thing people are going to say, well, what about my teeth? The strength of my enamel? Well, there's all sorts of things outside of fluoride. Because what happened before fluoride started being in our regular drinking water? What did people do then? If we notice, there are more dentists Most dentist offices are coming up, just like more hospitals are coming up. So how effective is the fluoride in the water in our teeth strengthening? I want us to think about these things. So I want us to think as we go over this information here. And I'd like to share this. It says, fluoride, is it toxic? Question, alternatives, and how to avoid. And we know fluoride is a controversial subject, so I'm not here to have controversy, but I just want to give some of the evidence that talks about fluoride. Research shows it's a neurotoxin when ingested, but it also has robust research to prove topical use of fluorides supports the remineralization of teeth and may prevent tooth decay, aka dental caries. And we're going to talk about that remineralization without the use of fluoride and the foods that will help with that. To say fluoride is toxic, that you shouldn't drink fluoridated water or use fluoride toothpaste tends to lump me or anyone else into what flat earthers and others, scientists, deniers believe about so many different other things. I'm not here for that. I'm just sharing evidence about why we shouldn't use fluoride, especially in our young children. Especially in our young children. We're going to go over that. So what is fluoride? Fluoride is an inorganic ion. It's the 13th most abundant element in our Earth's crust. That's why some communities around the world drink groundwater that contains natural fluoride content. Fluoride is different from fluorine. It's different. Fluoride is used in toothpaste, drinking water to prevent cavities, though a point of controversy. Both acute fluoride toxicity and chronic fluoride toxicity are growing problems in the United States. Now, again, I want us to think, why would acute fluoride toxicity and chronic fluoride toxicity be growing if the fluoride in the drinking water is helping our teeth? Why? So we have to think about these things. So the history of fluoride discovery and water fluoridation. Fluoride's potential for dental health was first noted in the early 1900s. Wait, your sheet's over there. You don't have to be afraid of the camera. Fluoride's potential for dental health was first noted in the early 1900s by dentist Frederick Mackay. Mackay noticed mottling on the teeth of his patients, dental fluorosis, and also found that it was associated with teeth more resistant to decay. Upon further investigation, Mackay realized the difference seemed to be attributable to the high level of natural water fluoridation in his new home of Colorado Springs. Calcium fluoride is present in groundwater at differing levels throughout the world, up to 10 ppm or parts per million in some areas of China. In 1937, Dr. General Cox suggested dumping the fluoride in a public water supply and touted it as decay prevention. You hear that? It says dump the fluoride in the public water supply. With a little evidence, including a study performed only on rats, another researcher, Dr. H. Trinley Dean, corroborated his claims. With extensive lobbying, here we go, lobbying, the U.S. Public Health Service endorsed fluoridation and still endorses it today. Now, I'm going to give you a little background on why I started looking into fluoride a little more. I was listening to years ago, I was listening to a documentary where a young lady, she had a farm, and she had horses. She had a lot of dogs. And for some reason, the horses, these were show horses too. So that tells you they were very expensive and they took very good care of them. For some reason, they were dying. And her dogs were dying. And they just couldn't figure it out. It's like, what's going on? We're taking the best care for them. We got the vet, for them, and on call, everything. They had a large farm. And finally, years later, animals were still continuing to die. We have to think about this too, because I'm going to go over what the veterinarians say about fluoride also. So we know that horses consume a lot of water. So do dogs consume a lot of water. Horses and dogs were dying. So what it was, somebody finally did a test on the tissues of the horses and some of the horses and the dogs that were dying, and found all the buildup of fluoride was in the tissue. And that's what was killing them off. So of course, the water that they were drinking was drinking normal drinking water from a tap. So they consume a lot of water, horses and dogs and other animals. The more consumption of that water and that fluoride just broke their health down, broke it down. And she finally, brought a lawsuit, and I don't know what happened to the lawsuit or what have you, but when these lobbyists, they got so much money and power. But I just remember, that's why I started looking into it a little more. So I just want y'all to understand why I looked at this fluoride, because of course I was a fluoride user for most of my life, right? And I'm going to give some personal testimony about when I stopped using fluoride. Now, before the U.S. world would begin fluoridating the water, they wanted a town comparison study conducted. But because the unfluoridated city saw a decrease in tooth decay, the unfluoridated city saw a decrease in tooth decay at the same rate as the city with fluoridated water, the unfluoridated city was thrown out of the study. The new version of the study, only featuring the fluoridated city, was used to justify fluoridating public drinking water, and the U.S. has put fluoride in the water ever since. The use of sodium fluoride was then implemented in local water supplies throughout the United States, but sodium fluoride, not the same compound as what's naturally found in water, is not what is likely in your tap water. Hydrofluorosic acid, HFA or HSA, was once known as a highly toxic waste product from the fertilizer industry. Before anyone added it to toothpaste or drinking water, to sell this waste product, HFA was successfully marketed as a rat poison and insecticide. Now the same companies who were once fined for dumping toxins into public water supplies are now paid by the federal government for a similar job. HFA accounts for about 90% of the fluoride in U.S. drinking water. The CDC named the addition of fluoride to public drinking water one of 10 great public health achievements of the 20th century. Okay? Is fluoride toxic? Yes. Fluoride is toxic in large quantities. It is a point of controversy in the medical and scientific communities whether the level of fluoride ingestion from fluoridated drinking water and fluoridated toothpaste constitutes large quantities. How much fluoride is toxic? Now, this is very, listen carefully to this. It says, according to the conventional medical community, the lethal dose of fluoride for most adults is 5 to 10 grams of fluoride. According to the Fluoride Action Network, the lethal dose of fluoride is close to half a gram of fluoride. For an average adult, this breaks down to 5 milligrams/kilograms of body weight. 0.2 grams of fluoride causes abdominal discomfort. That's 0.2 grams. So if you drink your half your body weight every day, right?
Oh yeah.
You're over that. If you brush your teeth twice a day, fluoride toothpaste, you're over that. Then if your mouthwash has fluoride in it, so y'all figure that out. Okay? Now for reference, most fluoridated water contains less than 1 milligram of fluoride per liter. That means 200 liters of fluoridated water contains enough fluoride to cause noticeable abdominal distress. Now taking into consideration fluoride from other sources, the toxicity of fluoride is a point of controversy. There are plenty of scientific studies that have observed adverse health effects from ingestion of fluoride, even trace elements. Okay? How does fluoride affect the brain? Okay, this is very interesting. How does fluoride affect the brain? In children, high fluoride levels are poison to the brain. Now, the children are smaller, right?
So it's going to take less accumulation of fluoride, isn't it? Children living in areas with fluoridated public drinking water seem to have lower IQ scores, lower by 7 points, with a standard deviation of 15. Fluoride exposure to the mother may also increase risk of ADHD or autism in infants. In adults, the effects of fluoride poisoning are still dire. High levels of fluoride negatively impact ability to learn, memory, and general cognitive performance. Now, what are we seeing with our young people today, our children? They can't focus, they can't pay attention or anything. So what is that? What do you need to do? You need to step back and say, I need to find an alternative for my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren. And I need to share this with my family, others, my loved ones, my coworkers, whatever, because this is real. We can see the makeup of America right now and the problem the young people have. Something that is so common as fluoride is destroying our brain, our minds. It's destroying our minds. It's common, it's everywhere. And now, if you go to your dentist and you want to have a conversation about fluoride, just leave that alone. Just leave it alone. But there are dentists, the larger a city is, you have more dentists that don't even use any fluoride. Now, why would a dentist not use fluoride?
Because there's
They know.
plenty in the water.
Mm-hmm.
So how do they use fluoride? Do they suggest you use it in fluoride toothpastes, or do they use it in their dental offices?
Yeah, they use it like when you get your teeth, when you go to the dentist, and we're going to talk about this too. You need to go to the dentist, well, I'll talk about it now. You need to go to your dentist at least twice a year. Every 6 months you should get a dental cleaning. Okay? That's most suggested, right? But when you go to your dentist, number one thing you need to do is let them know, because they'll ask you what you want to spray with or polish your teeth with. Just tell them you want baking powder, baking soda. That's it. Simple. You'll get out of there and they won't have no use of any fluoride in your mouth. Just tell them you want a baking soda rinse. So you know when they polish your teeth, they just use baking soda. They don't use anything with fluoride in it. So that's one suggestion when you go to your dentist. And also have your dentist take let me back this up. A lot of us have fillings. And those fillings have mercury in them, right? So we need to go back and study that also. People need to look at that individually because a lot of mental decline is coming from that. And go ahead.
Are they using that still? Those type
No,
of fillings still?
I think they don't use it as much now, but you can definitely make it specific. If you need a filling, you want a composite filling. You want a filling without any of that. And we're going to talk about how you can stay away from getting fillings also. Strengthening your teeth. When you don't need the fillings. You know, some children today, they go to the dentist for the first time, they got 7, 8 cavities. They need fillings already.
Because of their diet,
Yeah, it's because of their diet.
what they're eating.
And so it goes a lot. So I just want to deal with that right now since you brought that up. Now, ADHD or autism with a lot of children. Autism, they'll say 2 things. Autism it's more tested now. Right? That's what they'll say now.
Yeah.
It's more tested. No. It's a realization that there's so many things affecting our young children and us, because in fluoride, this is one example. So the things that we can control environmentally within our own homes and our own families, we need to do that. So if we can control the fluoride that's going on and we're ingesting. You know, put a filter. If you live in the city, put a filter, reverse osmosis filter on your sinks, and put them on the sinks to filter out. And be careful with the bottled water, because a lot of bottled water has fluoride in it also. So
You want a bottled water, if you use bottled water, one that doesn't have any traces of fluoride in it. Because a lot of bottled waters we use, they have traces of fluoride in it. What we try to do at our household and then try to share with people, just alleviate all the fluoride. Just alleviate it. Because it's a toxin, and we'll see more. Now, high levels of fluoride negatively impact ability to learn, memory, and general cognitive performance. Fluoride toxicity symptoms. What are the symptoms of fluoride toxicity? These are the adverse effects of high levels of fluoride. Hypothyroidism. So a lot of people have problems with their thyroids, don't they? Mm-hmm. Now, what do you think I know an average person would think, could it be the fluoride? Think about it. Nobody's going to think about fluoride. Nobody. Which can increase blood pressure and blood calcium. Oh, my blood pressure's high, I'm doing everything. But you know, you're using that toothpaste, fluoride toothpaste, you're drinking that fluoridated water. There you go. And blood calcium. Fluoride accumulation in pineal gland leads to insomnia and earlier onset puberty. Earlier onset puberty. So that may enhance why our young children are getting so big and developing so early.
So you have that combination
with the food, the hormones in the food, and everything else.
And that and the fluoride, and you got whew.
Now, cognitive dysfunction, fatigue and muscle weakness, preeclampsia, which can result in death of mother. These are adverse effects in infants whose mothers ingest a toxic amount of fluoride. Now, the toxic amount of fluoride, it doesn't take much. It doesn't take much. They make it sound like, they want to sound like you just swallowing your toothpaste, and everything else. No. Just what you do through the day. Your drinking water has fluoride in it. Your toothpaste has fluoride in it. Your mouthwash has fluoride in it. Even medicines have fluoride in it.
And you're doing it daily.
Every day. Now, so it calls for lower IQ, increased risk of ADHD, increased risk of autism, increased risk of premature delivery, decreased birth weight, increased risk of perinatal death, symptom of preeclampsia. Does fluoride prevent cavities? Okay, now, listen to this. Yes, fluoride can prevent cavities when applied topically to the teeth, but it is toxic to humans. So, I mean, what is that?
Doesn't make any sense.
That makes no sense, does it? So, Dr. George's recommendation is to avoid it. And the reason why I like to study here, it has at the end, those that have it, you can see it gives reference for everything. It gives reference for everything. I just love that. You got a reference. So I'm just not picking up some random paper just to prove the point I'm trying to make. But anyway, small amounts of fluoride in your drinking water and toothpaste build up over time quicker than you may think. That's what I was just saying. It builds up quickly. Many healthcare practitioners promote the benefits of fluoride to dental health, blindly accepting biased research, often from non-scientific scientific sources. Numerous researchers have attempted to show that fluoride added to public water systems reduces tooth decay, and many of these studies are the basis for today's fluoridation campaigns. There has yet to be a double-blinded study, a critical requirement in eliminating examiner bias, successfully supporting this hypothesis. In fact, several epidemiological human studies have revealed results to the contrary. Many studies suggest that fluoride makes no difference in cavity prevention. Well, what we read earlier, that's evident. Because what about the city that the cavities was going down that didn't use fluoride at the same rate? So why need it? Why have it? Fluoride acts by interfering with the enzymes necessary for producing intact collagen, leading to formation of imperfect collagen and irregular bone. This leads to weak, brittle enamel. Since
Fluoropytite is formed with a weak ionic bond instead of a covalent bond. Theoretically, fluoride may not actually strengthen teeth, but work by preventing the development of teeth. In fact, fluoride can make tooth enamel weaker. Fluorosis, too much fluoride, particularly before the age of 8, causes teeth to be weak and brittle, resulting in cosmetic blemishes as well as tooth fractures. Do you know your enamel in your teeth is harder than your bones? That's how hard the enamel is.
Wow.
Fluoride toothpaste alternatives, and it gives them alternatives here. I'm not here to promote anything, but I do have one here I'm going to recommend if you don't want to make your own toothpaste. One I use. So we'll list a few here. How to avoid fluoride. Avoiding fluoride concentration is hard when you're concerned about your oral health, but more and more companies are offering fluoride-free alternatives. Fluoride is hidden in many oral health products. Fluoride varnish, crown cements, dental filling materials, polishing paste, most mainstream toothpaste, some medications. However, there are certain dental products that do not contain fluoride and have more biocompatible ingredients. Look for these fluoride-free products. You got Foco, just list them: Admira, Fusion, Omacur, G-Bond, and SE-Bond. Even regulated bottled water and tap water contain excess fluoride in the U.S. at least. Now you see this parentheses, well, y'all don't have it out there, but you see in the U.S. at least. So why do you think that is?
Because,
Why everything is allowed over here?
yes.
The best water filters yeah. It says the best water filters that get rid of fluoride are reverse osmosis filters, gravity filters, pitcher filters, distillers. All water filters are not the same. Check out the blog on filters to find the best. Now, do all countries fluoridate water? Several world countries, especially in Europe, have banned fluoridation, while others have never fluoridated their drinking water. In fact, only 2% of the total European population lives in a fluoridated area. These are some of the countries who have banned or do not practice fluoridation of their public drinking water. Now, you might want to ask yourself, why is that? Why? Now, some of these countries are Australia, Belgium, Czech Republic, Estonia, France, Germany, Greece, Hungary, Latvia, Netherlands, China, South Korea. In India, they have built facilities to remove excess fluoride from water to avoid the toxic effects of excess fluoride intake, such as skeletal fluorosis or hypocalcemia. There are natural sources of fluoride which affect community water across the world, including India. However, public fluoridation is a major health concern here in the U.S. So what happens when you advocate, just say in your municipality, just in this area here, and you do what you call not a water test, but when you get signatures together and say, look, we don't want fluoride. I got 50,000 signatures here.
Is it petition?
Yeah.
Yeah, petition. Which thing you gonna say? Which thing you gonna say?
You're wasting your time.
It says, looking to the future, going fluoride free is easier than it has been in 75 years. Here at Pier, okay, it's talking about this is a dental office. So I'm closing this, and it talks about, we believe in fluoride-free cavity prevention. Our approach is focusing on the pH balances of the saliva, making adjustments to patients. You get this nutrition and so much more. And it gives all the sources that it has here. So that's I didn't take that long, so we get that. But, now I want to talk about this fluoride poison, what I talked about when I saw that. I was looking at Dick documentary. I mean, it was years ago. I was just listening to it I was at the gym back then, and I was listening to it. Man, wow. Now, pet owner, this is from Merck Manual, Veterinary Manual. So we love animals, all of us have animals. It made me think a minute. No, we don't have the fluoride at our house. So, now, it says, fluorides are found throughout the environment and originate naturally from rocks and soil or from industrial processes. This is for pet owners. Toxic quantities of fluorides occur naturally in certain areas. Drinking water from deep wells may contain high levels of fluorides. Volcanic ash may be high in fluoride. Waste from industrial processes, fertilizers, and mineral supplements are the most common cause of long-term fluoride poisoning. The fluoride containing gas and dust from manufacturing fertilizers, mineral supplements, metal ores, steel, and aluminum, and certain enabling processes may contaminate forage crops. Mouth or teeth cleaning products with fluoride present a danger to pets, especially dogs. You know why? Because dogs consume a lot of water. Sodium fluoride at a dose of 5 to 10 milligrams per kilogram can be fatal. And toxic effects can occur at less than 1 milligram per kilogram. Fluoride is absorbed quickly, most within 90 minutes. The stomach and intestines become inflamed and the heart beats rapidly and irregularly. Nervous signs may also be seen, followed by collapse and death within a few hours of fluoride ingestion. At high levels, fluorides bind calcium and replace the mineral part of bone. Long-term ingestion of fluoride at lower levels can cause changes in the enamel of developing teeth, leading to mottling, staining, and rapid wear. Signs develop in many animals when fluoride builds up in the bone. It results in abnormal bone growth and the hardening and thickening of tissue, sclerosis, growing bones in the young and the ribs, jaws, and long bones are most affected. So, all you animal lovers out there, if you own regular city water, don't give it to your animals. Don't give it to your animals. You gotta be careful. And this is talking about how fluoride is making us stupid and unhealthy. Now, a recent Chinese study concluded that low-dose sodium fluoride in drinking water diminishes IQ. It says low-dose sodium fluoride, especially among children. So the children, they're getting affected by this fluoride. Sodium fluoride has also been linked to reduce fertility and lower sperm counts. Other health issues arise from the basic function of sodium fluoride's ability to block thyroid production. That's another problem with thyroid. It was once used to inhibit hyperthyroidism. So if your thyroid is normal, it will be reduced to hyperthyroidism, which leads to a plethora of health problems. People with thyroid problems, they have a host of health problems, don't they? Sodium fluoride is accumulated and stored by bone matter, displacing calcium and weakening bones. The pineal gland sucks up even more of the stuff that is being put in 70% of the USA water supply, while independent scientific research and public protest is disregarded. So you go out there protesting, just disregard it. So what you have to do is take the next step. You have to filter all your water. It's coming in if you own city water. There's more on fluoridated pineal gland in it. Okay, they're referring to a Natural News article, and boy, I tell you, it had a whole bunch of stuff on this. Thyroid disruption, neurological, melatonin disruption, sleep disorders, Alzheimer's disease, pineal gland, calcification of this gland located in the middle of the brain, cancer also, and it breaks down the different types of fluorides. So there's that, and this is very interesting right here. Have you ever heard the concept of, have you ever heard this before? I've heard this a few times. Now, this is talking about the truth about fluoride. Albert Einstein's nephew, Dr. E.H. Bronner, was a chemist who had also been a Nazi prisoner of war during World War II. And he wrote this letter. Even in small quantities, sodium chloride is a deadly poison to which no effective antidote has been found. Every exterminator knows that it is the most efficient rat killer. Instead of preserving or promoting dental health, fluoridated drinking water destroys teeth before adulthood and after by the destructive mottling and other pathological conditions it actually causes in them, and also creates many other very grave pathological conditions in internal organisms of bodies consuming it. How can it be called a health plan? What's behind it? That any so-called doctors will persuade a civilized nation to add voluntarily a deadly poison to its drinking water system is unbelievable. It is the height of criminal insanity. No wonder Hitler and Stalin fully believed and agreed from 1939 to 1941 that, quoting from both Lenin's last will and Hitler's main camps, America we shall demoralize, divide, and destroy from within. So they used it as a dumbing down of the population. Fluoride. They knew what it did to the mind. So, you know, you got to look at all those that were in encampment. So now if you put it out in our water supply now, what is it doing to the minds of the people? Hitler put fluoride in the water so his prisoners wouldn't resist domination. By slowly poisoning and necrotizing a certain area of the brain, they would be quiet and submissive. So he used it in a more concentrated way. Any person who drinks artificially fluorinated water for a period of 1 year or more will never again be the same person, mentally or physically. This came from Charles E. Perkins in 1954. And they call this one, this was Hitler, this one says baloney. Even though the ADA and the CDC have issued warnings that parents not use fluoridated tap water to make infant formula, neither of them has openly informed the public. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention considers fluoridation of water one of the greatest achievements in public health in the 20th century. I mean, it just goes on and on. So, you know, I know what I did, but I'm gonna give you my personal opinion. Well, not my personal opinion, it's not an opinion, it's actually what I've done. How many years has it been since we used fluoride? It's been quite a while.
It's been a long time.
I'll say this to you. Now, I've actually did this myself, so I know what I'm saying. A while back, I started looking into fluoride, and you know, I started getting the what you call those fillings, those mercury fillings out of my mouth. I only had like 3. But if you have several, you need to go to a dentist specialized in that. And they do have some in North Carolina. So you just got to search them out and pray that your insurance will pay for it. Or you have to tighten some strings up and, you know, you just have to pay for it yourself. Because you want to get those things out of your mouth. You really do. I only had 3. I had 2 done one time and then 1 done this last time. But if you have several, you need that specialized care to get that out. Because they have to know what they're doing. There's certain protective things they need to put around the tooth and everything, because it's a toxin. So it's very dangerous. So you need to know how to do that. So I did that, and I had 3. So did that, and also I stopped using years ago. Now I'm gonna have to put this in as a qualifier. And when I change my diet also, because anyone can figure out if you eat, say, raw fruit, every time you eat an apple, it cleans your teeth and strengthens your enamel. That's what an apple does. So the more, I'm not advocating an all raw food diet at all, but we should incorporate more raw foods in our diet. And the more raw food you have in your diet, the better your teeth are going to be, better condition they're going to be in. It comes automatic. And I looked into oil pulling. It takes out the bacteria. You know, or a lot of people do oil pulling, but I saw so many different things about oil pulling. So, you know, I don't oil pull myself, but I know a lot of people that do. So there's some health benefits in oil pulling, but it won't strengthen the enamel. But it will take out the bad bacteria that keep from tooth decay, you know, building up on your teeth. And also, we know we should brush our teeth twice a day, in the morning and at night, and floss at least once a day. And I recommend a floss, get you some floss sticks with charcoal on it, and you get them mint. You can get them without fluoride on them too. So get you some sticks, some charcoal sticks, floss sticks with the mint, and just do that at least once a day. What time is it? Okay. Now, I had this little brochure here that said the fluoride dilemma, and it went over everything, but fluoride and cancer deaths. Now, this is a Dr. I call him Dr. Y because I can't pronounce his name. He's the science director of the National Health Federation, and Dr. Dean Burke, I've heard of him before, former head of the cell chemistry division of the National Cancer Institute, say that fluoridation increases the cancer death rate. They say they don't know if it causes cancer or merely accelerates tumor growth rate, but that fluoridation is responsible for about 25,000 cancer deaths per year in this country. They also studied the cancer death rates of cities before and after fluoridation and found that the cancer death rate began to increase in 2 to 5 years after fluoridation. See, so people are not paying attention to that. They're not. They're just not, and it's dangerous. So we like my wife said, we do to help anyone that wants to reach out and try to figure these things out. But I want to share this, and let me finish about other things. Now, when I go to the dentist now, I go to the dentist twice a year. I get checkups. In the past, probably 3 or 4 years, I had no cavities. And that does, the diet does help. But what does that say about the fluoride use? What does it need? What's the need of it? Because, a lot of these reports are saying the fluoride use will break down your teeth. So what do we need to do? We need to actually go out and do these things ourselves. So that's what I did. And it has nothing but been a great benefit. Because once the Lord gives us light on anything or whatever it is, we search out that light, we take that light, and a lot of times we have to apply it to our lives, and then I can come to everyone today and say that I've done this. Mm-hmm. I've taken all the fluoride. Our water doesn't have fluoride. I don't use fluoride toothpaste, and that's why I think we had a question right here. Did you have a question?
Oh, you can go ahead. I just was wondering, you were reading an article that was talking about why are they fluoridating the water, and that's to dumb down. To dumb down.
Yeah, it's just another process in a formulation of making us dumb,
And control.
making us docile, so that we can be easily controlled.
And is that controlling the population that
Yes.
causes deaths and all these
Right.
other things too?
Right.
So that's why they're
That's one of the reasons why they're doing it. I mean, just think about it. What other reason it's a toxin.
yeah.
They were dumping it,
Yeah.
it was a toxin. So, but I want to give you a quick sample of how to make your own toothpaste, and I also want to add this. Turmeric paste, you can make a turmeric paste also. You can make a turmeric paste. You take some turmeric and some organic, coconut oil, and make a paste. And they use that on the teeth also. But this is what I use. This is what I want to make this first, and then I'm going to show you. If you don't feel like making it, then what we'll do, I'm going to show you something that you can get. I've been using this for years, and it's done nothing to help my teeth. But also, I want to also say that if you just take something else I do also is that when I brush my teeth, my toothpaste has charcoal in it, it has the clay in it, and it has a couple more things in it. The essential oil, I think it's what is essential oil? It is peppermint essential oil. It has a natural sweetener called xylitol, but we don't need that. And when I brush my teeth, my last time, I spit the toothpaste out, and I don't rinse my mouth. It leaves like a coat on my teeth. And I have, you know, every time I go to the dentist, they're like, well, you're easy.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I do, because that's what I experienced for myself, and I've actually had the doctor say that, yeah, you're easy. You know, they clean my teeth, and he comes in and he looks at it and he says, okay, well, yeah. And they see recession. I want to talk about recession right quick. That's the separation from your gum, your teeth from your gum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I want to ask a question. I wanted to ask this initially. When God made us, did he make for our teeth to last a lifetime?
Mm-hmm.
So, in saying that, we need to know how to take care of our teeth, because we're supposed to have for a lifetime. You know, once we learn these things, we need to apply them. We need to apply them and share them with others. So we'll know what, you know, actually experience that. Know what we're doing. Now we have here, I have some calcium bentonite clay. Okay? This is food grade, non-GMO, all natural. I'm making just a quick little, need something missing. We're going to see how this works. Let's take a little bit. I'm just going to make a little sample right quick. So we got the clay. Let's make a little bit. I have some activated charcoal. Yes, what is this? Something.
The coconut oil?
Oh, yes.
I have that. I figured it was coconut.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what it is.
You need that.
Something was missing. All this powder. Okay. What I was missing from what I had up here is coconut oil. So I have activated charcoal. This is a hardwood activated charcoal powder. 100% pure food grade. Okay? So I have these two ingredients thus far. I have the activated charcoal. I have the calcium bentonite clay. And I have some organic, cold pressed, unrefined, virgin coconut oil. This comes from Costco's. So we'll put some
How much, what are the measurements, sir?
I'm not doing the measurement, I'm just making a little quick sample,
Okay.
because the more you put in, the longer it just make more toothpaste. Right? So I'm putting this in here. See, right now I'm gonna need
What you need?
no, I don't need anything. I need to put this should put a little more coconut oil in there. But now I have some peppermint, essential oil.
You use the other one. Is that the kind we use?
Yeah.
Use the other flavor. The other one.
The other ones? We have wintergreen.
Use wintergreen.
We have organic peppermint right
But
here.
yeah, use organic.
Okay. We'll put a couple of drops. I'll put 3 drops of wintergreen in there. Well, organic peppermint. And I can use wintergreen, but I'm not. But I will use some of this clove. Because the clove bud is good for any pain you have in your teeth.
Now the charcoal is white for whitening, basically.
Yeah,
right?
it
Charcoal's
will
for
whiten. Yes. Yes, it will.
Charcoal is for whitening.
Yeah. So say it again so they can hear you.
The charcoal is for whitening. And you notice that they're putting charcoal in a lot of different.
Yes, a lot of products, soaps and toothpaste, and they're putting charcoal in everything. So I just use a little clove bud, couple of drops of the peppermint, organic peppermint. I'll mix this up. I didn't measure it out, so y'all can, just gonna give you a sample here. Now, there are some, if you choose to, you can use some natural sweeteners or whatever you want to, but, you know, there's no need for that. Now, if you don't want to take the time to make it up yourself, there is something that I use, I've been using for years, me and my wife and Coy household. It's called,
mixing it with the stainless steel.
Yeah, and also using, when I mix it up, stainless steel spoon. Stainless steel. Always use stainless steel when you mix it. And something else I forgot to use, let me go get it right quick. I forgot to put my gloves on. Make sure you have gloves on. You want to be sanitary. I'm sorry. Y'all please forgive me. Okay, got my gloves on now. So I'll mix this up a little bit, nice and good. And use this. Now this is, you're gonna have to get used to this, of course. But I mean, there's other natural things you can add to it. You can tweak it however you want to tweak it, but the less ingredients, the better. I'll say that. But now this one, since, you know, if I don't make my own, I use what I call a silver earth paste, mineral toothpaste, peppermint, with activated charcoal. And this is what they have in it. Water, that's one thing I forgot to put a little water in here. But now, that's what I should have used instead of the olive oil. I could just use water and made it, you know, good consistency. But it uses 7 ingredients. Bentonite clay, which we have that. It has non-GMO xylitol, which is natural sweetener. I didn't use that, you know. You really don't need it. It has a nano silver solution, which would be good if you can get a hold of that. It has a nano silver solution, right? Which is not necessary, but it just enhances the teeth enamel. Nano silver solution. You got the activated charcoal, got your peppermint essential oil, it use some sea salt, you don't have to have that, and it has menthol in it, and it has tea tree essential oil. So
Is it menthol bad?
it can be. It's just, it's a lot
Do
of.
you have to put menthol in it?
No, you don't have to put menthol in it, but there's pros and cons with the menthol.
Yeah, we went over that.
Yeah.
But what you just made, there's no menthol in it.
No, there's no menthol. What I just made, I just used activated charcoal powder, the clay, and I used peppermint and clove bud. That's all I use. But now, also, I like trying things without oil. So I would have probably used water in place of the oil. So it's interchangeable, because coconut oil is good for the bacteria in your mouth.
Yeah.
So it's good for that. So it's good to use that. So, you know, everybody just, you know, you just sample it, use things, but we need, if you don't want to make it, there's a lot of non-fluoride toothpaste out there on the market that are good. You just search them out. And if you can contact me at amccoy1012@yahoo.com, you can call me at 336-259-4997. Reach out to me on Messenger or whatever way. There are many products out there that don't use fluoride, and a lot of them are using the charcoal, activated charcoal, in their products too. So if you don't want to take time to make it yourself, there are products out there, a lot, and this is the one I happen to use. I've been using this for years. Earth paste, silver. I can get them on Amazon, or a lot of health food stores carry it, and the cost is anywhere from $6 to $8, and it lasts a long time, you know, because you only need a little bit of it, so it lasts quite a while. So, you know, it's just I just wanted to share that with everyone. About the fluoride? Okay.
The meal planning, can you share that? That's coming up next to help with.
So we're doing meal planning,
Yeah.
just a full time. Okay.
To help.
Yeah, because I got a date for the next one too. So.
Meal planning to help people with planning their meals.
So we're gonna get ready to close out here. If anybody have any questions, you know you have my information, you can reach out to us. Just share what you've learned today and apply it. Just apply it. You know, we can have mental conditions, we can have high blood pressure, we can have, our children can be running around, bouncing off the walls, ADHD, they can't sit still, anything. It could just simply be the fluoride. Take the fluoride out of the equation and see what happens. It even increases your cancer risk. I mean, it's just toxic. We shouldn't be using it. So I'm going to close right now with a word of prayer. Father in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for blessing us this day, this beautiful day that you've given us. And I pray that this information doesn't go on deaf ears. And whoever may be watching right now, and anyone that watches later, may they take this information, and if they see certain issues within their own family, or they want to prevent certain issues in their families, then I pray that they would, take this information to heart and apply it in their own households, and then share it with others. Lord, it's my prayer. Please bless us now, continually throughout this evening. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. Now, our next meeting will be July the 21st from same time, 2 to 4, same place, July 21st. And also, what we'll be doing next is meal planning. Meal planning. And I'll just share this one point about meal planning. If we understand, a lot of people want to lose weight. If people just eat the proper times, they can just lose weight in that. So we're going to go over meal planning. We're going to see what your breakfast, your 2 meals, and if you need a third meal. We're going to go over meal planning, different ways to plan that, because meal planning means meal planning. Plan out your meals throughout the week. So good night, everyone. Until next time, everyone have a blessed week. All right. Okay.
Sister Roxy, did you have something to do next time, or did you want to take you a break, or get involved with the meal planning? Just think about it, pray about it, let us know.
Okay.
Oh, man.